What's up, Connie?
Just come to hang out with you.
Well, welcome to the studio and welcome to episode 2 of Remembering the Journey, starring you. You're the second person to come on this series. This is just to remind people at home, this is just a series where we bring clients in like you who have not just started the journey, but you've started the journey, you basically finished the journey, you reached your goal, and you've been maintaining it, and you know your life is different now than it was when you started. So the goal for this whole series is to really go back and remember everything that you went through that brought you into the program, and remember what it was like going through it, and really break down the whole journey, because there's always, I think, a lot of people out there who can feed off of what your experience in the journey. And the whole goal of this whole series is to inspire other people to do what you did, because your story is actually one of my favorite stories of all of my clients. Everybody has a unique story, and everybody's story is important, but yours, I think, is really, really powerful because of what you persevered through and what you were able to accomplish in spite of everything that you went through before coming into the program, which we'll get into in depth here in a minute. But
don't make me cry.
Well, I do have some tissue. I got some tissues right here, just in case. I'm prepared. Okay. But that's okay. That's okay, because that's it's real, right? Yeah. So to start off with, let's just go through the boring stuff. We'll go through your stats and get that stuff. We'll look at some before and after pictures and all that stuff, and then we'll really dig into the deep stuff, the good stuff. Sound good?
Yep.
So you lost 28 pounds in about 16 to 18 weeks. I think it was about 18 weeks when you finally reached your goal weight.
Right.
So you had there's a before picture on the left, and then your ending picture there on the right. And then we have some that you took, I'll show a side profile here in a minute, that you took. But so your stats, basically, you started at about 176.2, and you ended up at about 148.6, so just under 150, which was your goal weight, was 150. Right. And so you lost just under 30 pounds, and you lost at about 1.53 pounds per week. Very cool. Let's go through some before and afters here. Oh, that was your weight loss graph. So super smooth weight loss graph. You didn't really run into any plateaus, and you can see from pretty much the point you hit 148 on, you've been maintaining in that 5-pound range that we have you maintain in. So, and you've actually been maintaining now for, I think, over a year, because I think you hit your goal weight in end of September, early October,
I think so, yes,
of 2019.
Yeah.
So you've been doing awesome maintaining ever since then. Let's go through some before and after pictures. So there again is your before on the left, and the photo shoot we did on the right. And then let's see here. Okay, so there's your side profile from where you started. Yeah. It's always fun to look back at that.
No.
No? And then this here is where you ended up. Oh, for some reason, your side profile from where you ended is not popping up. But I'll put it up on the screen when I edit the video so people can see it.
Okay.
That won't be an issue. But this is another shot from the photo shoot we did at the end of it. And I put this picture in here because I love this picture, because there's an air of confidence here.
Yes.
That was not there.
Correct.
When you started the program.
Right.
Do you feel like that's still there a year later?
Yes. It's not as prevalent sometimes, but I have to go get it.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's start, let's take it back to the beginning.
Okay.
All right, the very beginning. When you look at that picture and you remember where you were at that time, what do you think about when you look at that picture?
That I wasn't healthy. Life was more than I could handle.
You'd been through a thing or two.
Right.
At that stage. So let's start there. Let's take us all the way back to the beginning and talk about what happened to you that brought you to that point? Some of the life circumstances and everything that happened.
I had been gaining weight like everybody does when they get older. And in June of 2017, my husband had a massive stroke. I became his caregiver. He had to take disability. He stays at home. And I work full time. So I wasn't doing a very good job of it. I was just, when I came to you, I was down. Like you were my last hope. And I had never been a person who thought I would exercise, that I could get into exercising, or that I had to have a diet, or, because I never did that. I just didn't think that was me.
Yeah.
I just thought you had to have a drive to do that. So I just knew I had to do something because I couldn't keep going the way I was going. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't sleeping. And I knew for me to be able to take care of my husband that I was going to have to be able to do things that normally he would do, and was going to have to just be strong about things and mentally be strong, because him having the stroke was it's a whole big adjustment. And so when I came to you, it's just like I decided, because I'd known you before. And I thought, well, I'll just reach out to you because I knew you had the gym. And then when you decided to, you were going to start a program, I think maybe I was the first person that signed up.
You were in the first 6 people. Yeah, you were in the first group of 6, all signed up on the same day. Yeah.
Because I waited till you opened it, and I was like, boom.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed help, and I knew that was the only way I was going to do it, was because I had no idea what to do, how to eat, how to exercise. I didn't know. So I knew I had to get somebody that could show me.
Yeah. And just to break this down a little bit more for people so they understand the gravity of what happened in the shift that happened in your life. When Jerry had his stroke, it was a catastrophic stroke, right? So talk a little bit about just how catastrophic that was, what he went through, and how it affected him physically, and then what that equated to when it came to you, and kind of what you had to do as a caregiver, just whatever you're comfortable sharing, just so people understand just how, this was no small thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was out of town on a business trip, and my neighbor across the street called and said that my husband was still home and my son was still home. My husband usually was at work by 6 o'clock because he worked for the county.
Yeah.
This was 7:30. And she said, people from the county are over there trying to get in your house, beating on the doors and windows. And she says, do you want me to go in? I said no, because I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want her to have to deal with that. So I finally got a hold of Sam, and I told him that something was wrong with his dad, that he needed to go check it out. He looked out his window, and he goes, the police are here.
Yep.
And I said, go let him in and take him to your dad. And I said, just be prepared because something's very wrong. And when they got in there, Jerry was laying on the floor, face down, cold. And he wouldn't answer to anybody. And they rolled him over, and he opened his eyes. So then I got the phone call. I was in Lexington, Kentucky. And I hurried and got home. And in the meantime, they took him to Hendricks and had figured out that he had a left brain bleed because of high blood pressure, because he didn't take care of himself, and he had not been to a doctor for 10 years. And I had been asking him for a year and a half, and his mom had been asking him to please go to the doctor. Well, he led me to believe that he was getting health checks through work.
Sure. But he wasn't.
He wasn't. When I found out, I went to HR, and they said, no, he's not.
So he had to, this affected his speech.
Right. So they lifelined him to St. Vincent's. He was in ICU, trauma ICU for a week, and we didn't know at that time if he was going to make it or not.
Sure.
They said the first 24 hours is critical. Well, it went a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Because he would just look at you and you didn't know what he was thinking or if he knew who you were or anything, and he couldn't talk. He couldn't move his right side, and he's right side dominant. He couldn't move his arm or his leg or anything. Mm-hmm. So we got through that first week. Then they moved him to the floor for stroke patients.
Sure.
Anyway, we moved him there, and then we had to start going through. They gave him a feeding tube because he couldn't swallow. Got him to where he could go to rehab, so he went to RHI, and he was there for a month. Mm-hmm. And they had to show him he had to learn how to walk.
Yeah.
He had to learn how to talk, and he started with 1, 2, 3.
So he started from scratch.
Right. And to sit there and watch that is heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And he had to learn how to walk. He had to learn how to, they had pegboard there, and he had to take pegs and put them with his, good hand, learn how to do it. So, I mean, he did 3 hours of therapy every single day for a month. Man. And then when he came home, he was on a gait belt, which is those belts they put around you and you hold on to. He was that, and we had some awesome friends who built a cement ramp to get into our house. Mm-hmm. Had to have a wheelchair, and I literally had to help him do everything for the first probably 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And we went to therapy every day. Yep. For speech, for hands, for walking, PT and OT, and that went on for. Well, we ended up getting, I think, 9 weeks out of it.
Yeah.
And so we did that every day. Yeah. And then I had taken a month off, and then they had made it so I could work from home. Mm-hmm. So I worked from home, took him to his therapy, came home, and was doing all that, trying to take care of him, trying to work, and trying to take care of myself. And I was to the point of total exhaustion. Mm-hmm. Physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, you went, overnight from, having a spouse who he was, I think he was second or first in command at the county at the time.
He was second.
Second in command at the county, a leader.
Right.
And, a working man. And then that to being a full-time provider while still maintaining your full-time job, still having kids. And did you have grandkids at the time?
Yes, I had 2.
Yeah, 2 grandkids at the time. So that's just a massive shift in your life. And while I think he's made a lot of progress, there's still a lot that is required of you. Even because it's been how long now? It's been 3 years?
It'll be 4 years in June.
4 years in June. And so when that shift happened, what kind of a toll did that take on you when it came to, like you said, trying to take care of yourself?
Well, when I brought him home, I had to get him from the bed to the wheelchair. Mm-hmm. So we had to use a transfer board. Mm-hmm. So that means I'm having to pull on him. I'm having to put him in a wheelchair and get the wheelchair through a very tiny doorway. Mm-hmm. Help him with his baths, do all that kind of stuff. And he's a big man. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't very strong. And I knew that in order for me to take care of him, I was going to have to take care of myself, or there was not going to be anybody taking care of either one of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if something would have happened to you,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. So this big thing happens, and you're doing the best that you can for him and for you, and you're trying to adjust to it. And did that make things worse when it came to, because you said you had been gaining weight, did that make things worse?
Yeah, because in my younger years, I would not eat when I was stressed out. Mm-hmm. But as I got older, I would eat because that's just what I did when I stressed out. It got worse. And So I was eating every day. When I was working, this was before he got sick, I would stop by Starbucks every day, and I would get a hot chocolate and a piece of the banana bread or the pumpkin bread every day. Now, if you go look and see how many calories that is, there's no wonder I was putting on a lot of weight. And so every once in a while I treat myself to one now, but I get coconut milk.
Yeah.
And then I sit there and I look at the calories and I'm going, You know, I mean, it's a lot because those two things, that's how many calories I was eating in a day when I was going through all this and losing weight.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Pull your mic up just a little bit closer. There we go. Perfect. So that brings me kind of like to the question I love to ask, which is, and you mentioned stress eating. Were there any other behaviors that you, or like when it comes to your relationship with food or anything else that you think contributed to bringing you to, you know, with things like how you handle stress, et cetera, et cetera? What were the things that you think that got you there that you had to work on over the last, you know, year that you've been in the program?
I battled with depression. So that got worse, especially during the winter months because you're inside all the time. And especially now with COVID and everything, he does not want to go anywhere. And he was always a homebody anyway, but this makes it worse because he doesn't want to go anywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
So I lost my train of thought.
Well, you were talking about depression, you know, the compounding fact that he doesn't really want to go anywhere or do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the depression, and I have a very great doctor who has taken care of me, has helped me with medication, watched me. You know, I go see him regularly, like every 3 months, and we talk and we get all that figured out. And then I just knew that I had been reading some things and knew that I could handle the stress a little bit better if I could exercise.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was half the battle. And so I was reading all that stuff. I talked to the doctor about it, and he said, yes, you know, go ahead and try it.
Yep.
So that's when I came to you. And I remember the day I came to you. I mean, I was broken. I was very broken.
Well, I mean, that's just one of the things that I love about your story, though, because given everything that you went through, I think a lot of people naturally would say, you know, they wouldn't even try. They wouldn't even step out and have the courage to come in and to speak with a coach and to start a new program. They would come up with almost every excuse in the book, right? You know, I have too much on my plate. You know, I have a job. I'm a caretaker. You know, I have grandkids. When would I have time to do this? But you didn't. You even despite feeling broken at that time, you found the courage to come in and to talk to me. How did you do that?
I just knew I had to.
There was just no other choice. No. Right?
Right.
Because you knew you had to be there to take care of him.
Right. And I wanted to feel better. I didn't want to be tired all the time. I want to see my grandkids grow up because, you know, they're my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the time, our youngest was 18. And I had to be there for him. You know, because all of a sudden he's down to one, you know, basically one parent.
Yeah. And I remember when you came in, there was something very specific that you said that stuck with me. You said, I have to find me again.
Right. Yeah, I was lost.
Yeah.
Because I was taking care of him so much that I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I mean, I became his caretaker. Everything was, you know, everything I did was surrounded by him.
You're just consumed by that.
Right. Every single thought, every single move I made was for him. I mean, even when I started going back to work a few hours a day, I would have to make sure, you know, the lid on the jar of peanut butter is unscrewed so he can get it off, you know.
Yeah.
Things you don't think about, you have to make sure he can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important to talk about because I think that is very common for women in particular, whether they've been through a really sort of a crazy life alteration like you did, where someone had a stroke or a heart attack or something like that, or whether I think a lot of women in particular just feel like they're caretakers for everyone in their life. You know, they're
because we're givers.
Yeah, you're givers, right? And you're constantly pouring out of an empty cup,
right?
It feels like. And so I just think it's awesome that despite all that, you had the courage to come in and to do it. So you came in, you decided, you know, to jump in the program in the first group of 6 that did it. Mm-hmm. We did your orientation, all that stuff. We got you going. What were your thoughts when you first started the program? Like, were you excited? Were you scared? Were you worried? Like, what was going through your head when you first started?
I was excited, but I was also scared because I didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
I'd only been to the gym maybe once or twice in my entire life. And it was like, okay. I mean, I'd go down there most days and it was like, okay, well, I'll see if I do this the right way, you know. And then I would ask you and you'd say yes or no, or you would show me what I need to be doing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I just got to the point where, you know, it was my time. When I went to the gym, nobody asked me any questions. I didn't have to do anything for anybody except for myself.
Yep. I love that. That was probably your first step in taking you back. Right. Finding yourself again. I love that. And you lost 15 pounds in your first 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, you were already over halfway to your goal. What were some of the biggest things that you learned or that you think helped you in that first 6 weeks to get that far that quickly?
That I could do it.
Yeah?
Because I didn't think I could do it. Stick to the plan. Mm-hmm. And if you stick to the plan, it's going to work.
Yeah, if you work the program will work for you.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had some people saying, well, you're not eating enough today or you're not getting enough calories. And I said, you know, I'm okay. I've got a health coach. He knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I'll be fine.
Yeah. And that's really common that happens. And I think that people do that from a place of love.
Right.
I don't think there's anything malicious, but it's something that happens a lot when people start a new journey, whether it's with us or whether it's with someone else. And especially if you are losing weight and you're losing it, you know, even remotely quickly, people will worry and, you know, worry that you're not getting enough to eat because we've all been told that we have to eat more to fuel our metabolism, which is totally not true.
Right.
You know, when your clothes start to look loose and then they'll worry, you know, are you sick? Mm-hmm. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, is there something I need to know?
Don't lose any more weight.
Yeah, don't lose any more weight, honey. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if I had $1 for every time someone said that to me when I was losing weight. And they don't realize how deep that cuts.
Right.
Like when you're in the middle of the battle and you are striving to find yourself and to find confidence, and someone says something like, I really don't think you need to lose any more weight. You know, you're looking sickly and, you know, but you're not happy yet with where you are. You're not to where you feel happy and confident yet. Anyway, I think that happens a lot to people and I wish it didn't. But again, I know it comes from a place of love that people do that, but you kind of had to push through that.
Yeah. My answer was, I'm not finished yet and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. It's going to be okay. Love that. So as you got through started in the first 6 weeks, you lost 15 pounds. Was there anything that felt easier than you thought it would be? Like when you came in, you thought this is going to be really hard. I don't know if I can do this, but then you got, this really isn't that hard.
I found that I really liked walking because that really helped relieve the stress a lot. Yep. So if I would get stressed out or feel like I couldn't take something, I'd just leave and go walk. And I did that, and that was a big thing on helping lose the weight as fast as I did because I walked every single day.
Huge, yeah.
And, you know, you started me at 8,000 steps, then I went to 10,000, and then I just kept, you know, creeping up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And no, I don't walk as much as I used to, but I go to the gym.
Yeah.
So, you know, I did the trade-off. But yeah, and just figuring out what foods I can eat and how much I could have. And once you start eating the right way, you feel better.
Yeah.
And then if you go back and you eat something that is not good for you, you don't feel good because it feels like a block of cement just went to your stomach.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was I go to a lot of meetings, back when we could still go.
Yeah.
And we go to places to eat, and you said, well, you got to stick to your diet. And I was like, and you said no alcohol, which I'm not a big drinker, but I have a drink. And I was like, man, and I'm working a male dominated world.
Yep.
So I went and I said, they go, what are you going to get? And I said, well, I'm just going to get this salad and whatever. And they go, okay. And, they kept saying, well, you look so good. And I said, well, thanks, and everybody came around and was very supportive. I've got my family was supportive. My friends were supportive. I've got friends that, was my cheerleader every single day.
Yeah.
So, and if I thought, well, okay, if they believe in me, then I can do it. So
that's amazing. And I love that. I mean, I was definitely probably writing you and saying, hey, you gotta stick to it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't work the program can't work for you.
Right.
But that's something that people struggle with is because you can find excuses everywhere.
Oh, right.
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 We went out for a lunch meeting today. Well, but you went out for a lot of lunch meetings,
right?
And a lot of lunches with your coworkers who were mostly male, and they didn't exactly pick the healthiest places. But one of the things I remember that you were really good at is you were good at finding something on the menu that fit what you knew would be what you needed to do to keep moving toward your goal. And you didn't use it as an excuse to say, well, this is just the way it is. This is the only,
right.
You didn't use it as an excuse to go off plan. You really stayed firm. And I think that's one of the reasons why you never really had any real plateaus. When you look at your graph, it's just, you had some ups and downs, but you didn't really hit a plateau.
Right.
And it's because you made some really hard decisions when you could have made other decisions,
right.
But you didn't.
I was proud of myself because I stuck to it.
Yeah. No, you did an incredible job. What about things that felt hard, or was there anything that was just really challenging that you struggled with at any point in the program? Could be mentally, physically, anything.
Sweets.
Yeah. Everybody has something for you at sweets.
Yeah, it's chocolate.
Yeah.
Because I would crave it.
Yeah.
And then eventually, and the other day I thought, well, I don't crave that anymore.
Yeah.
So it comes and goes. I think it's just, I think it's one of those stress things.
Yeah. I would agree with that. A lot of people don't realize that when we're under a lot of stress, our body reacts in very specific ways. And one of the ways that our body reacts is that, it ramps up certain stress hormones, and those stress hormones drive us to crave sweet or calorie dense things. They think, oh, it's just my, they think it's some like personal flaw.
Right.
It's not. It literally is your body, influencing you biologically to do something. And it comes from a place of a survival type of a mechanism that our body does. But that's why it comes and goes. That's why sometimes you may feel like, man, I just want some chocolate.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, I don't need it.
Right.
But yeah, so chocolate was the thing that you really struggled with when you were dealing with the stress. How did you overcome that? When you were feeling really stressed and all you wanted was some chocolate, how did you get past that?
Well, I talked to you about it, and you suggested that I get some of the dark chocolate.
Yep.
And have like a little square. So I did that. And I just, one square and I put it away.
Yeah.
Now, some days I had more than one square.
Sure.
But, I did that, and I just... I would eat chocolate chip cookies, and I would bake all the time.
Yeah, before the program?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't bake anymore because if I bake, I eat it.
Yeah.
So I just, I gave that up.
That is a really, I think, this is one of the reasons I love these interviews is because little like nuggets pop up like that. And that is something that I think is super, super important to acknowledge is that you used to do this thing, right? Where you would bake a lot. And there's nothing wrong with baking. Joni, my wife, she bakes a good bit. she bakes cookies, she bakes brownies, and, and I partake because I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm kind of maintaining just like you are.
Right.
And when you're in maintenance, you can enjoy things like that. But you sort of made a decision that you were going to give up that thing that you used to do. Because why? What made you say that, you know what, I don't need to do this?
Because if it's there, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. So you just know.
I just know.
You intuitively know that is a line that you can't cross because you won't be able to have the self-control to do it. But that's super important because you had the self-awareness to know that I just can't do that. Right. And if I continue to bake, then I might find myself gaining the weight back and all that stuff. So you made a super important decision to say, I can't do that. Right.
Right.
And I kind of did the same thing when I lost my weight. My thing used to be fast food, right? I could go through the drive-through and I could just smash some McDonald's, some Steak and Shake. And I gave that up, right? I can probably count on one hand how many times I've had fast food in the last 2 or 3 years. Right. But a lot of people approach it from a standpoint of, I think the reason a lot of people gain their weight back is because when they reach their goal weight, if they ever reach their goal weight, they think, woohoo, I'm done.
I can go back.
And I can go back and I can do all the things that I used to do. And it's not, you can, like some people, would go back to baking and be able to do it in a balanced way, but you knew that wasn't going to be a thing that you could continue to do. And you made a really smart decision to just kind of move away from that.
Right.
Which is awesome.
So if I want chocolate chip cookies, I get the little packages and I just do,
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little 100 calorie single serving pack. Love those.
And not only did I go to Starbucks, but I went to McDonald's every day and got a sweet tea.
Yep.
So those were the two things I had to really...
Those are the things that you had to just kick it.
And the sweet tea was like a big crutch for me.
Yeah.
Whenever I got stressed out, I went to McDonald's and got a sweet tea.
That was your thing. Sucked it down.
Yep.
So were there any points during the program after you started that you just really hit a hard mental spot where you felt like quitting, or was it once you got going, you felt like you had enough momentum to just finish it?
No, once I got going, I knew I could do it.
Awesome.
Because I was probably overconfident, maybe, but I was, I was very confident that I could. I'm kind of like, if I set my mind to do it, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I would say that is because I was about to ask the next question was, is there anything that you feel like you did in the program that you would almost call a personal strength of yours that you do or did better than probably the average person does? And I would definitely say that mindset of being overconfident in a positive way worked in your favor. Is there anything else that you did or that you chose to do a specific way, whether it was with your food or with your exercise or anything like that, that you feel like you just really excelled at in the program?
Doing my walking every day, that was a must.
Yep.
And I even had people comment on Facebook, I saw you out walking. And I've even had people come up to me and say, do you know you're an inspiration?
Yes.
My own daughter-in-law said to me, do you know you're such an inspiration to me? And I said, no. And now they're in the program.
Yes.
So,
making great progress too.
Right. And I'm very proud of them because they watched me do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of them for doing that. But I just knew that it was something I had to do, because if I didn't, I didn't know what was going to happen to me.
Yeah. So I like to always ask people about the deep work. Like, you've heard me talk about cracks in our foundation, right? Mm-hmm. So we all have behaviors and relationships with food, stress, all of these things that if we don't get a grip on those things, can spiral out of control and cause us to perpetually gain weight, to perpetually let our health, spiral out of control. And everybody's different. Everybody's cracks are different. But unless we fix those cracks in our foundations, then it's almost impossible for you to keep the weight off. But you've kept the weight off, which tells me that you definitely filled in and fixed some cracks in your foundation, some things that were deeply rooted in yourself that you have been able to not go back to. So what are some of the things that you identified, and how do you think that you were able to fill in and fix some of those cracks in your foundation? What are the biggest things that you think are different about you today than the Connie when you first entered the program?
Well, the food I eat. Not going to McDonald's anymore. Not going, and I go to Starbucks every once in a while.
Sure.
And, but that's just my treat. And I know if I do that, then there's something else that I can't have during the day. And it's just a give and take. With me, it's give and take, because if I have this, then I've used up a lot of my calories.
Yeah.
So I've got to have to, have yogurt for dinner. And, and lots of times I do that. So I would say, and it wasn't really fast food. It was just like those two things. It was like sweet tea. And it was like hot chocolate. Yeah. It was like a comfort thing with me. So I stopped doing those. I knew that I needed to exercise. So then I started coming to the gym and working out. And I would get to the point, and I did it a lot on the weekends because I couldn't figure out. But then I started, and we talked about this, I started figuring out, well, I'd go home and give Jerry, or I'd stop and pick up food for Jerry, take it home and say, here's dinner, I'm going to the gym. And I did that more than once. And now, and towards the end of my time that I was working on losing weight, I would go in the morning before work. And I would get up and be down there like at 5:30, 6 o'clock, work out, go home, take a shower, and go to work. And that I like that because it gives you a good start to the day, and you feel like you've accomplished something, and you feel better. So I did that, and now I come down there, twice a week in the mornings, and I like those days because I come in there, I do my lifting my weights, then I walk a mile, and I feel like I'm walking it out. That's
therapy.
That's my excuse. I walk it out. But I've made lots of new friends. During this journey that are on the same journey with me. And I've had people, come to me and say, well, what did you do? You look great. How do you do it? Can you help me? And I've counseled some people, and some people are still with it, and some people haven't. But, that's their personal choice. They have to decide.
Absolutely.
I can't.
There's been several people who have started their journey because they saw you do it. And was Vicky? I feel like Vicky was one, who will be in a future episode of this, one of the ones that we have coming up. But she's one that, if it weren't for you and her watching you, she wouldn't have started. And she graduated not long ago and finished hers. So would you say that the comfort, the food, using food for comfort was probably one of the biggest cracks that you had to overcome?
I think so.
And what do you think that you sort of replaced food with when it came? Is it the exercise? Is the exercise filling that gap? Right. So instead of turning to food for comfort, you're using the exercise as an outlet. Particularly probably the walking, it sounds like. Because like you said, you walk it out. Like, is that almost like a therapeutic thing for you?
And this summer, Vicky and I teamed up, and we walked every day. Every morning. So that helped a lot. And we'd walk and talk and get everything out that we had to say, and then go home and do our jobs and go on our way. And now, we could still be doing it, but it's dark. And neither one of us feel really safe about walking in the dark. So, and I started coming to the gym more.
And that's why you started coming to the gym. So, it's getting colder and darker and all that stuff. So you're coming and getting your steps in at the gym. But again, that is one of the reasons why you have maintained your weight loss, is because as things change throughout the year, as the weather changes, as, the sun goes down earlier and all those things, you're not using those things as excuses to say, well, I just can't walk now, so I'm going to slip into this seasonal depression. You're saying, no, I've got to keep doing this.
Right.
So I'm going to get up early, a few days a week and go into the gym. You are not allowing those to be excuses, and you're continuing to make shifts in your schedule and do the things that you have to do to continue to feel happy and healthy,
right,
and to maintain all your progress, which is amazing.
And you had done a podcast, I think, not too long ago, when you're talking about but. Mm-hmm. I can do this, but.
Yeah.
So that stuck with me. Mm-hmm. And if there's a day that I did, and I've had days I was like, I don't want to go to the gym this morning. I want to stay here in bed and lay here. And it's like, but get up, go, because there's really no reason why you can't.
Yeah.
And that's stuck with me.
Yeah. It's a powerful word.
Yeah.
So now that you're through the program, you graduated, you've been living at your goal weight. One of the favorite things I like to ask people about is, what are some of your favorite experiences that you've had living at your goal weight? Things that you've been able to enjoy, or that are experiences that are different now for you than they were back when you were at your original weight. Anything that stands out to you?
Probably going out to eat. Mm-hmm. And I don't do that a lot, but one instance, my mom and I stopped at Culver's because she likes Culver's, mm-hmm, and I got a cheeseburger and fries. Mm-hmm. I ate it. Yeah. I ate it all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good thing because I felt sick, and it was just, it just felt really like it just fell to the bottom of my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But what's a good experience? Something that you were like, oh yeah, I'll give you an example. So Aaron, on his last interview, he was like, he said that throwing out all his old clothes because they didn't fit anymore, was an awesome experience. He said that bending down to tie his shoes without feeling like he was going to burst was an awesome experience. Right. He said that going into the store and not throwing everything down and leaving because he was upset that nothing fit. Are there any experiences like that that you can think of that you're like, man, I'm so glad that I stuck with this and did this?
Yeah, I cleaned my closet out. I
did
the same thing. I had it all on my bed, and it's like none of these fit anymore. Yeah. And I went, and you can go to the gym. You don't have to have workout clothes, but sure. I went and bought me some workout clothes.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm going to look good while I do this.
That's right.
Not that I'm going there to look good for anybody, but so I did
look good,
that.
feel good.
Yeah. You look good and you feel good about yourself. So I did that. And it's just little things like that.
The confidence.
For the confidence, yeah.
Confidence that you have. Yeah. And like I said, when we did your photo shoot, and the biggest thing that I saw in the pictures afterwards was your level of confidence, and just seeing that sort of change from the picture on the left there into the picture. There's a glow about you in that picture on the right that is, you're smiling in both pictures, but it's different.
Right. It's a bigger smile on the right.
Yes, it's a bigger smile, and it's just, to me, it's a more genuine smile.
Right.
Right. It's different. You're radiating in that picture on the right. So what's next? What's next for you now that you've pretty much been maintaining at your goal weight? Do you have any other goals that you want to strive for when it comes to your health or anything in life? Like, what's the next thing that you kind of really want to focus on?
Just continue my journey, continue mm-hmm. working out, continue taking care of myself.
Yep.
We've got that range, that 5-pound range.
Yep.
I'd kind of like to lose, 2 or 3 more pounds and make my range a little bit lower. But if I don't, I don't. I mean, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But I want to continue to feel good and do the things that I'm doing, because I know, I've got a lot of living left to do.
Yeah.
And I want to be here to do that. I want to be here to see my grandkids,
Enjoy those experiences
right.
as much as you possibly can.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So having completed the program and done all of this, the 2 questions I always like to close with. Number 1, if you were to say or give some advice to someone who has just started the program, I mean, they're in their first week or 2, and they're excited but also worried or scared. And what would you say to those people who are just starting the program to help maybe either put them at ease or to help them get the most out of their first 6 weeks in the program?
First of all, it's hard. It's hard, but you've got to make up your mind that that's what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And I've opened up to anybody that wants to talk to me about it. I've given my journey, talked to other people about my journey, and I've just been kind of like a cheerleader to other people and said, I know it's hard and I know what you're going through, but you can do it.
Yeah.
And if you've never done it before or you don't know how to do it, I mean, everybody has a reason why they're going to do it, and they have reasons why. There might be an underlying reason that they don't even know about.
Right.
And, you find out more things about yourself than just losing weight.
Yes, absolutely. You probably learned a lot more during this program than just how to eat right.
Right.
And how to exercise. And it's that deep work, those things you learned about yourself that have truly changed you and who you are. But I love what you said about, this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a cakewalk, but what doesn't challenge you doesn't change you.
Right.
Right. You have to embrace that challenge and welcome it and push through it, because what's on the other side is pretty exciting.
Right.
So last question, I think this is probably the most important question for you, is what would you say to someone who is where you were in the picture on the left, right? They're feeling overcommitted. They're feeling exhausted. They're feeling lost, like they've lost their identity in caring for, in pouring out everything they have into other people and not pouring anything into their cup. What would you say to them?
Come to the gym with me. Come and do what I did, and I'll help you. I'll go through it with you.
Yeah.
Because you can feel better.
It's possible.
Right. It is possible. Even if you've got a lot of things on your plate, it's possible.
I mean, you're a testament to that. I mean, like I said, everybody's story is different.
Right.
Everybody has different responsibilities. Everybody has different varying levels of things on their plate. We have people who are stay-at-home moms. We have people who, are business owners, people who work multiple jobs and have kids in sports. Everybody's different, but everybody has things on their plate. Everybody has baggage. But your story is so important because you're a prime example of someone who had a lot on your plate. And you found a way to dig deep and to overcome and to accomplish everything you've accomplished in spite of that. And that's just, I think that's the message that I really hope that people can pull out of this. If there's people at home who are feeling like they're where you were, like, well, she can do it.
It can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've inspired a lot of people. And there's been a lot of people who have come to us and started their journey and made some really incredible changes. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to watch this, and they're gonna hear your story, and it's going to strike a chord with them, and they're going to decide whether it's here at the Chronic Health Club or whether it's if they're listening in California or Texas or wherever they're listening to this. Because people can listen to this pretty much anywhere in the world now.
Right.
They're going to go, you know what? If she can do it with everything that she had going on, I think I can do it too. And they're going to either reach out to us, they're going to reach out to another coach. They're just going to find a way to do it.
You just have to find a way.
That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Well, thank you so much for being willing to come on and open up and talk about everything that you've been through and about your journey, and being willing to inspire other people in the way that you are today.
Thank you for being my coach.
That's my pleasure. So we're going to wrap it up. You want to do the snap with me?
Okay.
To end it out?
Yep.
All right. We'll count to 3. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.